Bossman Show here with North Colorado's new head coach, Steve Smiley, out of the Big Sky Conference. Coach Smiley, what's up with you guys out there in Colorado, man?
Oh, just, right now, just probably the same as everywhere else, just trying to, kind of understand this current and new reality with the COVID deal. And it's just kind of funny. I think I got the job right as this was happening. And I think we had the first ever social distancing virtual press conference and had the AD, 10 feet away at the table on my left, and the president 10 feet away on my right. We're just staring into a camera with no one in the arena. And it's been kind of like that ever since, but it's been good.
Yeah, Coach, same here, man. It happened on March 11th for me, my birthday. I was at the Hogs-Knicks game, and I get told the season will be suspended. I'm like, what? Season suspended?
Yeah.
And I was like, so it happened on my birthday, so I can't forget it. It happened on my birthday, so I'm like, man, this is crazy. This is going down. And how life has changed in the past month of how life is just so different for us in the media, you as a coach, trying to recruit kids, keep your team together, check on your guys when they're back home with their families. Man, I can imagine how crazy it's been for you getting this job, trying to get everything in order when everybody's so far apart right now.
Yeah, it's been a little different, our season was cut short. Same thing. We were getting ready for the quarterfinals of the Big Sky tournament, and we had our practice in the arena. We're back at the hotel. We're eating pregame breakfast, and then the athletic director walks in and he kind of shakes his head no. And at the time, the head coach Jeff Linder walked up to the front of the room and said, "Hey, sorry guys, tournament's over. Let's pack our bags. We're gonna get on a flight back to Denver." So, since then, it's been a challenge, in terms of keeping the team together. But I guess for me at least, it hasn't been as hard because I've been here for 4 years. I know these guys, and the current roster all stuck around, which was really good. And then, so we kind of knew what we at least wanted to do recruiting wise. It's been interesting hiring a staff over the phone, but I got some of my good friends that are coming in and coaching colleagues, and a couple of our guys stuck around in terms of the staff that I was a part of as well. And the things have been good, but it's been team Zoom meetings, individual FaceTime meetings, and it is amazing how many meetings we're having without trying to just inundate the guys. But I do think the ability to be connected is really important for a variety of reasons.
And I thought this coach because he can give the guys workouts to do, whether it be with bands, different dumbbells they have them at home. Because you don't want the guys to come back maybe in August or September and start from scratch, getting them guys in shape. Because they been doing that for 5 months and get out of shape, gain some weight by eating junk food, playing video games. So trying to keep the guys in shape is probably be priority one right now, along with keeping the guys engaged with schoolwork and with the team as well.
Yeah, those are the two things. Obviously the schoolwork. We've got 3.5 weeks of actual school left before finals. Our finals week is May 4th through 8th. So, they got 3 or 4 weeks left of just kind of trying to figure out this online stuff. And I think for the most part, our guys are doing a pretty good job of it. And then, just kind of the strength / conditioning / staying in shape / nutrition is just so important because even, for instance, I got a couple kids that are in California and out there in California, they're taking all the rims down off the public park hoops. And so it's getting to the point where there's almost nothing they can do with a ball unless they have a hoop in the driveway. That's it. So when you get that taken away from you, then it's just about trying to keep your body in shape. And like you said, not just sitting around eating bad food, playing video games. So I think we talked to them a lot about that. We're trying to keep them educated on that. Strength coach sending out, the at-home body weight workout if they don't have any weights at all at the house, just trying to keep them doing the best job they can, because you're right. I mean, they show up, let's just say it's August or September. Nobody knows, but let's say they show up and they haven't done anything for 5 or 6 months. That's a real problem for everybody. So try to keep them going.
Now, Coach, I feel good that after Coach Linder took the job at Wyoming, that, hey, the university said, hey, Coach Smiley, we believe in you and what you've done as an assistant coach here, lead this program going forward, because I know it's kind of sometimes you want to look outside the box, but I feel like, them choosing you right there in the house means they really thought that highly of you, what you could bring to this program after Coach Linder moved on.
Yeah, and I think, when for me, the nice thing was when Coach Linder got this job, he and I have been close personal friends long before the coaching world. We grew up pretty close to each other, and similar age. And so, when he left for this job, I left, my previous position for this job as well. So we were together from day one. And I think I did feel like, if we put together a good program for however many years that is, then at some point in time, I'd at least have the opportunity to hopefully get in that interview room with those people, the athletic director, the president, and whoever else was going to be on the committee, and just try to explain my vision. And luckily over the past 4 years, we've had a great run, and I don't think it's over yet. I think we're still building with our current roster, but with the success comes opportunity, and Coach Linder had a great opportunity to move on to Wyoming, and that opened the door for me to have a chance. And the interview went well, and here we are. But it is a pretty amazing and humbling feeling to get the opportunity.
And Coach, you've been a head coach at the JUCO level, but now you're a head coach at the D1 level. So how did you prepare yourself from working with Coach Randy Ray there at Weber State and Coach Linder these past 4 years to prepare yourself in your mind how to become a head coach, kind of in your brain make plans of how you would do things here, do things there, kind of prepare yourself to present yourself in the meeting with the people of decision makers and say, hey, I'm the man for this job as coach moves on?
Yeah, great question. Going back to when I was a junior college head coach for 6 years, you get to the flow of that, and you kind of think you've got some things figured out, some things that you continually learn. But when I left being a head coach to be an assistant, for Randy Ray and had that opportunity there with Coach Ray, that was the first, big step to just kind of seeing a different way of doing things, and then doing things at a higher level. Weber State and Coach Ray have always been, synonymous with winning, and so that was a great experience for 2 years. And then, that kind of segued into this job here and being able to kind of move to that associate head coach, role where I had a lot more responsibility with Coach Linder. I think all those things kind of just start blending together. You see extreme winning from Randy Ray, from Jeff Linder, even back when I was a player with Don Meyer and famous Don Meyer. I think that all that, subliminally kind of puts you ready to be a head coach if you ever get the opportunity. So, that was kind of the goal when I left being head coach and controlling my life and schedule to go work for Coach Ray, is that, I needed to learn and continue to improve as well. And I think, being around both Coach Ray and then obviously, Coach Linder for the last 4 years, I think it has prepared me for this opportunity.
Yeah, because those two guys know how to build a program. And that's why I feel you saw how to build a program for Coach Don Meyer. Now, Coach, I went to basketball camp as a child at Lipscomb. Went to his basketball camp.
Wow.
So yeah, because my mom was a Lipscomb alum. She graduated from Lipscomb in 1972. So I've known. Well, I went to his camp when I was a young man in Nashville with my mother.
I bet you got some crazy stories, because I've heard some stories in the same type of camp when I played for Coach Meyer at Northern State. Same idea, but I'll tell you this: after my first year at Northern, he was still doing kind of the last year camps in Nashville, and so myself and our other kid in our class, my best friend Sundance Wicks, who's now on the staff at Wyoming, and before that was the head coach of Missouri Western. Sonny and I, we hopped in the car from Aberdeen, South Dakota. We drove 17 hours down to Nashville, Tennessee, to work Coach Meyer's last, Lipscomb camps, and so we got a chance to kind of see the legendary setup and all the amazing things down there in Nashville. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, indeed. It was a cool time. Coach, I'm telling you, my mom had me at Frankie Allen's basketball camp, Jan Van Brotherco's basketball camp, and Coach Myers during the summertime when I was in Nashville with her in the summertime, because my dad was in Atlanta, but I would go to Nashville sometime with my mama, so she would have me in camps the whole time I'm there meeting these legendary coaches who now I talk to on my show now become friends over the years.
Wow. Now, I would assume you probably still have some of those Don Meyer handouts or a notebook or something from that camp or something like that. There's probably somewhere in your files or in your storage.
They're over at my mom's house in Nashville still. They're up there at her house in Nashville still.
I believe it. That's awesome. What a small world.
You got that right, man. You got that right. And you know what, Coach? Like I said, man, I feel like, you have a great thing going out there. The Big Sky is getting better. Like this year, Eastern Washington and Shante Leggins won the regular season title. Coach Travis DeCure does a good job in Montana. And even the bottom teams in this conference this year were tough to beat, tough outs. In the middle of the conference, it's tough. So I feel like every night in the Big Sky, it's a hard night. There's no easy nights off in that conference. Nowhere, top to bottom.
No, it has been a good league. I've been in the league for 6 years, and as you kind of watch the kind of advanced stats and rankings, whether it's the old school stuff, the BPI, the RPI, the things like that. Now that obviously the college net kind of lumps it all together, or KenPom, which we do a lot of that stuff too. I think the Big Sky this year finished 17th in the country out of 32 leagues, which is really pretty good. And when you really look at it, you look at the top 5 Power 5s, and then you throw the Big East, you throw those, the top 8 or 9 schools, the top 8 or 9 leagues. I mean, that there are some great teams and players. So when you're talking about floating around, the middle teens from 14 to 18, you've got yourself a really good league. And so the league was really good this year. Obviously Eastern Washington, us, Montana kind of separate ourselves out near the end of the year. And it's funny, Eastern Washington, we both our games came down to the final possession. We lost in overtime at their place. We had the ball for the last shot at their place, and it didn't work out. And then at our place, they had really with the minute left, and we missed a 3 to tie it. And I think our two teams were that close. So as we went into that tournament with the 2 seed, we did feel like we got a great chance to get right there and maybe get to March Madness. But again, once coronavirus hit, it was all over. But you're right. I mean, the league is good. There's no easy nights. The travel can be challenging with the way the schedule's laid out, and in a good way that there's some good home court advantages, and there's some teams and programs that really care about basketball, and it makes it tough.
Yeah, because I said I was telling Coach DeCure when I had him on the show, man, you and Eastern Washington play every year in Boise, don't you? And that final game, he's like, we hope. He's ready to lay back in reserve, but he's like, it's always close and tough, no matter what you got in tournament time. Anybody can be anybody. So I feel like it's so great. People sleep on the conference out west because a lot of people out this way are in bed when y'all all are playing. So it takes a junkie to be up and watch it, So it's like you don't realize how good this league really is.
No question. Yeah, being out west is kind of the basics to them. The games that are on ESPN on the West Coast teams, they're so late at night for East Coast. You can't even watch them. But there's a lot of good basketball in the West. There's a lot of good leagues, and starting with the Pac-12, and as you kind of move through the whole deal, I mean, there's a lot of really good leagues out here, a lot of good players, and I think it's getting better and better.
Now, non-conference scheduling while I was coaching, with you guys being out west and being in Colorado, you kind of good location to kind of schedule how you ever want to schedule. But I know you can play some guarantee games, of course, raise money for university.
Right.
As well, kind of want to take some guys back home, maybe put down a Zips tournament. So how you see yourself about scheduling these games going forward, now that you're the man in charge of scheduling these games? Because that's the most important thing beyond recruiting is definitely scheduling games for sure.
You're right. Yeah, no, I mean, probably the 3 most important parts of any program would be, recruiting, scheduling, and just, your practices. And, scheduling, luckily, one thing that, Coach Leonard did a great job with me and our entire staff of giving us, duties and roles. And actually the whole 4 years, I was kind of the lead schedule guy. And then, Coach Leonard would co-sign on everything or say yes or no when we got down to the final, deal. But I've learned a lot about scheduling, and Coach Leonard is a master at understanding how important schedule is. So, in terms of scheduling, like you said, you got certain guarantee games that you've got to get this level. You got to kind of balance it out. Our schedule in general has gotten harder to fill in the sense of 20 league games now. It used to be 18. So our non-conference, you've only got 11 games, which sounds great because you got 20 league games, and that's a good deal. But it does make it tough because you still have to, raise the same amount of money that we have to raise out here. You try to get a tournament in there. You try to get a couple home games. Our league, we only do 2 non-D1 games, where I think the overall rules you could get up to 4, and we only do 2. So you can't just have a bunch of non-D1s in your schedule. So it gets challenging. I think going back to teams, like Montana, the more you win, and we experienced this here, and we experienced it at Weber State. The more you win, the harder it is to schedule because no one wants to play you. There's just not a lot in it for those teams, and there's not a lot to gain. There's a lot to lose. So it does get challenging, but. We're working on our schedule right now, and I think we're pretty close to being done. Just a couple games left. So
it's funny how I suggested to Coach Passner to play certain people. He's like never. I've told him to play certain teams. He's like never, not happening on my watch. I know how that goes at how much level. They don't want to take an L to pay you to come beat them. They don't want to do that at all. I can understand that totally.
It can make things a little tricky. We've had some luck over the past few years that we've actually, some of those guarantee games that we've won, we've walked away with a check and a W, and that can be a real problem for their teams. So, you do the best you can. You know at our level that you're going to have to go play some really tough teams on the road. If you look at our schedule over the last 4 years, I mean, we've had to play some of the top teams in the country year after year after year. But, when you do that, it's fun for your guys too, and it gives them a good, kind of gauge on where they're at in the grand scheme of things. And they want to play, and they want to prove themselves too against the best teams in the country. So there's a lot of benefit too.
That's what I for coaches. For cities of Atlanta here, coach, a lot of guys here listen to the show. Young high school basketball players, a lot of good players here in the city of Atlanta and around the area. So for a young man from Atlanta who wants to go out west to Colorado, play for Colorado, how do you pitch a young man out here to want to come out that way and get a good education and play for you and play in a great Colorado the Big Sky Conference is?
Well, I think it's gotten a little easier for just kind of the free flow of recruiting and players wherever, just because of when you've got the club scene, which right now with COVID, who knows where that's going to go. But when you go to one of the circuits, for instance, like an Under Armour, a Nike UIBL, or the Adidas three stripe deal, you're going to see teams from all across the country, and you're still going to probably follow the teams that are in your kind of geographical footprint. But those teams are going to play teams from Atlanta, Nashville, wherever. So you do get to see kind of that blend of players from all over the place. And then because now there's so much more film, there's so much more access on Synergy and some of those platforms, you can watch so much more film where you don't have to physically go out, to Atlanta as an example and go watch a kid play six times. We don't have probably the budget to do that. But if you see a kid and you really dig into it and you really like all the film and everything else checks out with transcripts and things like that, well, then you can say, okay, we've crossed the T's and dotted the I's, and we can pop back out there and have a recruiting trip with, a couple of kids, and then it makes it real. So I think just for, kids in general, just the same stuff with, not only club, but, the new high school kind of rules that in June, we're all able to see some different high school sanctioned events, and then the new NCAA academies that are in July where kids are kind of blended from all over the country on that invite deal, and it's a different way to watch kids from everywhere. So I think the opportunities for kids in general has really blossomed over the last couple of years.
I hear that. Well, Coach Smiley, best of luck to you, brother. I hope to see you here when COVID goes away, because we're here to catch up with you. We can start recruiting some guys, man. And at the Peace Jam, maybe at the late Point deal up there as well. So best of luck to you in this new environment. Hopefully you do a great job. We'll talk to you again down the road towards November, Coach.
Okay, sounds great. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Anytime, Coach. Best of luck to you, buddy.
All right, bye.
Grab a hold of big breakfast flavor at Hardee's. Try 2 breakfast sliders for just $2.99. Get Applewood smoked bacon or freshly grilled sausage with fluffy eggs and golden melty cheese, all on a toasty little bun. Good morning, start at Hardee's. Available now for a limited time at participating restaurants. Tax not included.
All right, folks, here on the Bossman Show, here with the new coach, Georgia Southern Eagles, Brian Berg with us. Coach, how's it going down in Statesboro, man?
Got my feet on the ground. Trying to get through this pandemic, but this is a dream come true. Couldn't ask for a better situation, and I'm excited to get the things going.
Now, Coach, for you, with this whole pandemic going down, how's it been for you trying to hire staff, talk to your team via Zoom, recruit guys to come join your program? I can't imagine you get the how of getting this job, but just the how everything's such change in the last month or so, trying to hire staff, adjust to your team, just to do surroundings, and also get this whole program up and going.
Well, I can tell you one thing. I'm keeping Verizon Wireless in business because I'm on the phone all day long. But it's been challenging, but it's been good. Over 17 years in the profession, you rely on the relationships that you have. Been very receptive talking to our roster here at Georgia Southern. Great guys, building relationships with them through Zoom calls, as well as FaceTime, and then just regular phone calls. But excited to be here, excited about this opportunity. Georgia Southern has an unbelievable winning tradition. And the last 4 years, give Coach Byington unbelievable credit. 80 wins over the last 4 years. It's a great winning tradition.
You get there, whereas I'll kind of image my next point, Coach, about how coming to a program where Coach Byington has set a great foundation. He left the program for you in good hands to take over. You come from a great program, Texas Tech. We know what you guys did there with the Red Raiders, but coming in here, well, the program has kind of already been, the foundation has been built for you. It's a winning tradition, a winning culture. Guys expect to win. Now here you come, kind of put your twist on it now going forward and keep the train going here.
I'd like to keep the winning tradition. I was very fortunate to work for Coach Beard for 5 years. 1 year in the Sun Belt at Arkansas Little Rock, where we had a lot of success going 30-5, and then transitioned into Texas Tech. A lot of people laughed at us whenever we got to Texas Tech and said we want to get to a Final Four. We did that in year 3. And I'm excited about the opportunity here at Georgia Southern. Hanner Fieldhouse is a great place to play. When the place gets packed, it's hard to get a win for an opponent playing in Hanner. And Coach Byington, like I said earlier, just did an unbelievable job here with his winning. And it's an unbelievable opportunity for me. And I'm gonna do everything I possibly can, work day and night to make sure that we end up having success both on the court and off.
Now, Coach, how did you prepare yourself to become a head coach as being an assistant coach, so associate head coach to Coach Beard? So what did you do in your mind to kind of prepare yourself? No opportunity will finally come for you to get in front of a president or an AD or committee board who hires to show them your vision for whatever program you want to take an opportunity with. So how did you kind of prepare your mindset for that, this opportunity you have in front of you right now?
I think it's your day-to-day approach. It's a great question, but it's your day-to-day approach. Looking back to my time at North Carolina Central, working for Lavelle Moton and MEAC, every decision that I made, I felt was a head coach decision. He gave me a lot of responsibility. That transition to Arkansas Little Rock, working for Coach Beard. And then the last 4 years at Texas Tech, I was Coach Beard's right-hand man. A lot of the decisions that were made were head coaching decisions. I feel really confident moving into this role at Georgia Southern to continue to make head coaching decisions and end up having success.
You get there, right? And also, I feel like it helps you, Coach. You've been in the league before. You've been in the Sun Belt, so you know what it's all about. The league now, it's gotten so much better over the years. You know, the coaching has gotten better. The players have gotten better. Just a lot of Sun Belt's really on the rise. A lot of people don't really understand that nationally, but being right here in our backyard, we see it with Georgia Southern, and we see it with Georgia State, of course, right here in Atlanta, that how the basketball here in this conference is very good. The players are very good and very talented and can play professionally anywhere.
Well, just like the Big 12, their nights off. Any opponent you're going to play, it's the same in the Sun Belt. I have a lot of relationships in this league, very familiar from our 1 year at Arkansas Little Rock. Even Coach Ogden out of UT Arlington, he's the head coach there. He was on staff at Texas Tech with myself, and then just a close friend throughout the league. One other is Rich Riley at South Alabama. We've known each other for years. So got a lot of respect for all the coaches in this league. Like you said, the talent is on the uptick, and it's going to be a battle night in and night out.
And I feel like y'all have an advantage of that, too. Like you said, Coach, to a degree, with you knowing the guys in the league already who can give you some tips here or there. And plus, you probably played the Texas school, right? There maybe non-conference sometime in Texas Tech, maybe. So you've seen kind of talent in the league as well. And come conference play, you've been in the business for 17 years. You know guys' schemes, what they like to run. So I feel like it'd be easy just for you come conference play time, but being a Little Rock for that year and just being in the business all these years to know what guys run, how they like to play out of timeout plays, or at the end of the game, what they want to do. So I feel like it's going to help you already have that knowledge of all these years in the business of coaching.
I agree. I think there's some familiarity there. I also think that we're going to pride ourselves on our preparation. We'll have an elite staff in the Sun Belt. We're going to spend a lot of time, and every game that we approach, we're definitely going to be prepared. You have to give yourself a chance to have success at a high level. With the respect that I have for all the coaches in the Sun Belt, it's going to be key to make sure that we're prepared.
Now, Coach, with the COVID-19 pandemic going on, I feel like the biggest piece for you right now is kind of keeping your guys in shape and not having a come back to you when it's August, September, whenever we get back to some normalcy, that they're not just starting from scratch for us conditioning-wise. If they've got out of shape, they've eaten like what they shouldn't be eating, they might not can get to a hoop right now because of the stay-at-homers, but the strength coaching, you'll really probably have to put like a great plan to keep those guys worked out at home without weights, without bands, keep those guys in shape as this thing's going down right now.
Well, I think that's key, but I think even more importantly is the relationship piece. Constantly talking to our players, constantly recruiting, building the roster. The relationship piece is extremely huge for myself. I'm a relationship guy, so I spend night and day on the phones communicating with our players and also recruits. Georgia Southern has an unbelievable opportunity to continue to grow from a basketball standpoint. It's a fine university. It's got winning tradition. So my biggest key is to sell the university, sell the men's basketball program, and build our relationship with our roster.
And over the years, Coach, so where's your relationships kind of been with guys here in the Atlanta area and in Georgia, period, about because a lot of great players here in the area, as you know, a lot of great programs in the area where high school ball is coached very, very well. So been relationships with the guys in the state, now that you're here at Georgia Southern now, how's that been over the years, and how you plan to attack that going forward?
Well, this is some of the best talent in the absolute country, and it's a hotbed in this area. Plan on building great relationships throughout the entire state of Georgia and all the surrounding states. A lot of relationships that I've already had pre-existing from my time at Campbell University as well as North Carolina Central, and then even Texas Tech. We got a great player out of Macon, Georgia during our time at Texas Tech and Kayvon Moore. So I've continued to try to build the relationships throughout this area, and I think that's going to take a little bit of time just because I think relationships, to be real, have to take a little bit of time, and I'm going to work as hard as I possibly can to establish those relationships, continue to build the ones that I already have.
I think it's also an advantage for you too, coaches, because so many new coaches in Georgia now at the D1 level. With Kennesaw having a new coach now, Tom Crean only being Georgia the third year, Robert Neers only being Georgia State second year, Greg Gary Mercer second year. Now you first year Georgia Southern now, so I feel like a lot of you guys compete for the same guys. So it's not those entrenched relationships where you have to compete with somebody already been here for years. It's entrenched with a certain guy or team or a player. So with all these the new blood here in the state with our D1 schools, for advantage for all of you guys to kind of get your foothold in there and get guys and get relationships built to kind of keep the pipeline going for all programs here in Georgia right now.
There's a lot of quality coaches. You just mentioned a lot of them in the state of Georgia, and I can assure you that Georgia Southern's going to work hard throughout those relationships throughout the state and then also the surrounding states. This is a hotbed of talent, and we're going to do everything we possibly can to build those relationships.
Now, Coach, how scheduling-wise, I know Coach Bonson, when you come on the show, talks about how guys they would not want to play them because of how good they've been over the years, and of course you know that. And scheduling, also recruiting scheduling is probably the hardest thing you guys have to deal with as coaches. So, what's your approach when you be scheduling games going forward? You're doing 2-for-1s, 9-zip tournaments, going on the road, play some guarantee games, of course. At some level, you have to do that. So, how you plan on attacking the schedule for your team going forward?
Well, I think you have to try to get some home games. It's pretty tough. Cantor Fieldhouse, tough place to play, I can assure you that. Traditionally, you played in MTE, so we're looking at all different options. Just trying to hit the ground running, but we're going to end up putting a quality schedule together. I know the People's States Pro will be excited, and we'll have quality opponents. But most importantly, we're going to do what's best for Georgia Southern men's basketball. And it'll be a great schedule. I'm excited about that. We'll have opportunity to play some really good games here at Hanner, and then also have to go on the road and play some common opponents.
And, Coach, you kind of mentioned Coach Lavelle Moat and Coach Chris Beard, who meant a lot to you. Can you just kind of go into more detail about what those guys meant to your career here and how they've helped mold you as a coach here over the years?
Well, with Coach Moten, had an opportunity to build a great relationship the 2 years I was there with him. He's a phenomenal X's and O's coach, even better person. Really looked out for me throughout my career, and we had a lot of success. I learned a lot about accountability, the way that he runs his program on a day-to-day basis. And then Coach Beard at Texas Tech. I think he's hands down the best college basketball coach in the country. He's had success at every place that he's been. He's a master communicator, and more than just basketball, he's a close friend. I've been very fortunate, and it's more than just those two guys. I also work with Coach Robbie Lang, who's now an assistant at UCF under Coach Dawkins, and then also Kermit Davis down at Ole Miss. So I've been very fortunate in my journey and working with great guys, great coaches. I couldn't ask for a better journey for myself.
I miss Coach Davis. I used to go to NTSU and see him up there sometimes, and I miss seeing him, man. He's a great dude. I know he's an Ole Miss now he's going to get that program turning around as well. And he's a funny dude. I love talking to him. I talk to him. He's always been a great guy to me.
Hey, he had a huge impact on my career. He taught me the nuts and bolts of how Division I programs ran. That was during my time at NTSU, and I was very fortunate for him to give me that opportunity. I think the world of Coach Davis.
Now, Coach, how many times you go over to Toots when you was in MTSU? I love that place, man.
I've been there a time too.
Yeah. Hey, some great wings at Toots, man. I love that place. Well, Coach Berg, thank you for your time today, man. I'll talk to you real soon. We're in town recruiting. Hope to have you come down here to the studio with us and see us in person, man.
Hey, thanks so much. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Anytime. It's Brian Berg on the Bossman Show.
Sally Beauty's new all-in-one hair color kits make it easy to color your hair at home. Get everything you need to color for beautifully radiant results. Loved by professionals, open to everyone. Sally Beauty.
All right, folks, back on the Bossman Show. The Wyoming Cowboys head coach Jeff Linder. Coach, what's up with you guys in Wyoming, man?
Well, that's a good question. With the quarantine, with the virus, been a little bit different. Every time, us coaches take jobs, it's always crazy and hectic. Now you add a pandemic on top of that, and it makes it even more interesting. But luckily for me, when I was at Northern Colorado, in Greeley, Colorado, I'm only about a 90-minute, 90-mile drive up to Laramie. And the beauty of when you drive that way is that once you kind of get past Fort Collins, north of where I'm at, there's the only thing that's on the road are semis, so it's a pretty easy drive, and I've kind of just been making the long commute as little as possible. And that's, in some ways we're all adjusting as coaches and kind of goes back to the old days when there was no telephone, no cell phones, there was no computers, and all you had to do was you got to get on the phone and you had to sell yourself. And so in that way, it's actually made it a little bit easier taking a job right now from a recruiting standpoint, because you're not just running around with a chicken with your head cut off, hopping on planes, going from here to there. You just got to make sure that you're just working the phones, you're at the right place at the time. And these kids, knowing that they're probably not going to be able to visit campuses anytime soon, they're making decisions quicker. And so you just got to be at the right place, right time.
I hear that. I know when you take a new job, Coach Linder, is usually like a 18-hour day sometimes. I'm about 20-hour day trying to work the phones, meet boosters, meet people, new people. So what has your day been like? It's probably more hectic now than it would be typically, because you can't see people. You have to Zoom, FaceTime, and, call a lot. And I can't imagine how it is right. They're trying to hire a staff right now with this pandemic going on around us.
Well, luckily for me, it was, I could just make the drive up for my virtual press conference. I really didn't have to do much other than just sign the contract and do a few little interviews. But, with all these laws going on, you don't want to get too close to anyone. And so when I got the job, as opposed to have to, glad hand and talk to a bunch of different people, my priority was on making sure that I saw 4 or 5 of the guys that I was looking to keep in the program that lived in the Colorado, Wyoming area. And I just got in my car and drove and made sure I got face-to-face with them to let them know that, what my plan and vision was for them moving forward in the program. And so by doing that, I thought that was actually a time a lot more well spent, as opposed to kind of having to do all the things you do under normal circumstances when you get a job.
Yeah, especially being that close to you, like I was off there, like it's like a drive for me to drive to downtown Atlanta is hour 30 minutes for me. So you get the actually a productive drive in that time period to get up to Laramie and see work it there. So, Coach, I know you had a great program in Northern Colorado. We talked about it a lot between you and I. Years you was there, so you know how to build a program. So is that how you kind of saw yourself to the Wyoming administration and say, hey, so I did here in Greeley with these guys, I can do it for you guys as well?
Yeah, I think they knew me quite well. I mean, one, from my time as being the associate coach at Boise State for 6 years, being in the Mountain West, and then we had played Wyoming the last 3 years. We'd actually gone up there the last 3 previous years and beat them when I was at Northern Colorado. And so Coach Tom Berman, the AD, had a pretty good idea of who I was and what I was about. And the thing for me was I had a really good team coming back next year. I mean, a team that this past season was a top 75 team in the country, but I just knew that I could do all the same things that I did at Northern Colorado at Wyoming, but now I'm also being able to attract student athletes with an overall better conference. The Mountain West means a top 8 league in the country with resources and facilities that are Power 5, elite Power 5 level. And that's the thing that it really excited me, is I wouldn't have to do anything different, but I think those things will allow me to attract just a little bit better player, hopefully, in the long run.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a great conference. One of my good buddies, Kyle Smith, coaches at Utah State. He gets the job done there. San Diego State is a top flight school in the country as well. So you're in a tough conference, a better conference, but hey, you're up to that challenge. I see you do it in North Colorado, how you get stuff done. So like you said, what you did there, you can definitely do in Wyoming for sure, in the Mountain West with more resources and more access to players now.
No, there's no question. And we had played in a number of Mountain West teams when I was at Northern Colorado. I have a pretty, we scrimmaged Utah State twice, Coach Smith, and then we had played Colorado State, UNLV, and so we have a good idea of what the league's about. The league's changed a little bit from the time I was at Boise State. It's definitely gotten a little bit smaller, a little bit more athletic, and so it's just one of those deals where we're going to do what we do at Wyoming. We're going to find the right type of kids. You got to find the right guys that that fit the environment, fit the state. And the one thing about me is that, as college basketball's evolved, a lot more people become less interested, especially in terms of fan bases, alumni, just people in general, the communities, because a lot of ways there's so many other things going on, and it's so much easier to watch via your phone. But the one beauty of Wyoming is that we're the only 4-year school in the state, and so now there is no pro sports team. There is no Atlanta Braves or the Falcons or all the Hawks. I mean, you have it's just the University of Wyoming. And so when you get that thing rolling, it's one of the very few places in the country where you get an entire state behind you. I'm not sure if there's very many places like that. I can think of like a West Virginia, Kansas a little bit, even though there's different four-year schools. But I just think that if you could really tap into a pride and passion that really exists for a university within a state, I think that allows you to elevate the program.
And, being the Big Sky's a lot of talented young men in the Northwest out there, man, like Eastern Washington, Montanas, how the job the hell they gave you when you was in the Big Sky. You gave them hells back as well. But how the talent is in that league, and the talent's out on the West Coast there. So you're in a great area to find great talent, and not too far away from talent in California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, of course, Colorado as well. So I feel like you're in a great spot to recruit those high-level blue-chip guys, and also find some guys down the road and develop those young men into what you want them to be in year 3 and 4, maybe their 5th year if they redshirt that first year.
Yeah, well, the one tough part about Wyoming is if you do draw about a 200-mile radius around Laramie, there's not gonna be a lot of dots of where there's guys good enough to help you win the Mountain West. Now, from time to time, there will be. I'm fortunate to have a few of those guys in my roster now, but you're definitely going to have to go into other people's backyard. You're gonna have to go fish in different people's ponds, and so when you have to do that, you better have your assistants. They better have a really good idea as what the head coach wants. And I think my assistants know that there's a certain type of player I want to coach. There's certain type of guys that I want to see, and they know too if they put me in front of a guy that can't shoot, then it might cost them their job. Which I'm joking, but not joking. And so value guys that can really, really shoot the ball, and guards that can really play, and that's what's been kind of our formula for success where I've been at, and hopefully we can continue to find those guys at the University of Wyoming.
Now, Coach, we do this COVID-19 pandemic, Coach. China, I feel like this also is very key for you guys. All you in the business now is to keep guys in shape, because you can't see the young men. They're on their own. They're at home, so somebody have a hoop around. They can get hoops. So give them exercises to keep them in shape without needing to use weights or bands or a hoop. So how has it been with the strength coach trying to kind of map out those, keep the guys in shape so they don't come back in August, September, and it just mush? You got to start from scratch for it, get them in shape to get ready to play ball for you in November.
Well, that's an interesting question. It's for me, I had to hire a strength coach, and so I brought my strength coach from the University of Northern Colorado, Jimmy Edel, who did a tremendous job in the 4 years I was there. And now with a roster where we're only returning 4 or 5 guys from last year's team, and now you add 8 or 9 new guys to the mix, it's logistically a little bit of a challenge. But I do think what you hope that you did is in the recruiting process you found guys that really like to play. I don't throw even guys. A lot of guys will tell you they love to play, but ultimately you find out at this level, very few really love it. There's a lot of guys that like it, but the ones that love it end up being the ones that are really, really good, or the guys that don't have as much talent but end up finding a way to play over guys that have talent but just kind of like, or just kind of go through the motions. And so I think hopefully we found the right guys in the short time we've been recruiting that they're going to find a way to get a ball in their hands. They're going to run around the neighborhood. They're going to stay in shape because they know that it's important to them. And that's where I think the biggest thing is just making sure that you find those guys that really can utilize their time the right way, because now you can just sit around all day and do nothing. Well, ultimately that's going to catch up to you in the long run if you're not doing something that's going to help you when this whole thing dies down, hopefully at some point here sooner than later.
The good thing about Wyoming, in my opinion, Coach, is that the guys can focus on their craft, because there's not much to do out there other than go to school and hoop and ball. So hopefully they'll focus on their craft and get better, because there's not much to do and get yourself in trouble out there.
No, there's no question. Now, the hard part, too, is sometimes where guys, they let their guard down when they start taking classes online. And as the case with me today with my internet, I have 4 kids, and 3 of them are doing schoolwork online, and you take for granted a fast internet connection from your office, from the school that they provide. And so for these kids, they got to adjust a little bit too, because there's some of these guys are in environments where maybe they don't have a great Wi-Fi, or they're not having access to a computer. Some of those things that you think are they're just normal, but sometimes they're not. So luckily for us, we have a really good academic coordinator, and she's done a great job of just really staying in contact and staying on top of the guys that need to be stayed on top of. And and just making sure that they just don't relax and let their guard down, because now they just kind of have all day long to just kind of sit around. And so making sure that they manage their time and just really keep some structure. I think that's the thing that these kids end up missing the most during this time, is just the structure of just the everyday of what it means to be a student athlete, and how that ultimately allows you to be a lot more successful in life with that ability to manage your time.
And that's what I got for you, Coach, is non-conference schedule. I know Wyoming was not that good last year, not the good they wanted to be the last few years. So I'm pretty sure it'll be easy to get games next year, of course, if they're not already booked for you from the previous staff. But, once you get this thing rolling again in the Mountain West, I feel like you have kind of an easier way to kind of schedule games, because you can get guys to come out there and play you, hopefully 2-for-1s, maybe do some the non-exempt tournaments, those right there as well, but also go on the road some. So how do you see yourself going about the scheduling of these now that you take it over the scheduling there going forward?
Well, the thing is that we have, historically has been one of the toughest. Laramie's been one of the toughest places in the country to play in college basketball. And the all-time home winning percentage for the University of Wyoming at home is 76, 77%. You're playing at the highest Division I court in the land at 72-20 feet. I mean, you're almost 2,000 feet above sea level. It's or mile high above sea level. So it's a big home court advantage, and it's a great job in the fact that I have a lot of resources to where I can buy games, I can play a lot of home games, and then it's like you said, you got to take advantage of the fact that people might perceive you as not being as good, next year, which I think might be a mistake. I think the guys that I return and the few of the pieces we got a chance to kind of build off the momentum that those guys had at the end of the season in the Mountain West tournament, when they made a really big run and got to the semifinals and lost into a really close game to Utah State. So we'll be strategic with that and make sure we put ourselves in the best position. But first and foremost, I had to put together a staff and then make sure I had enough guys to field a team. And now we're trying to piece together the puzzle of scheduling now.
Because I told you out there that we had on your associate head coach, Steve Smiley, on the show. He talked very highly of you. So let's do a favor. Let's tell us a little story about Coach Smiley here for our listeners who heard him yesterday on the show here.
Well, I mean, Coach Smiley, he earned the right to be the head coach of the University of Northern Colorado. He was a guy that when I took the job 4 years ago, he didn't blink or had wavered at all when he knew that we were walking into a really, really tough situation where we were going to have NCAA sanctions, postseason bans, scholarship losses. We had a lot of excuses for not being good early on in Northern Colorado, but we never let the circumstances define us, the situation define us. Always is like, hey, let's just try to find a way. And Coach Smiley's a guy that just brings tremendous energy every day. He's just an everyday guy, and that's all. I mean, and that's what you want from your assistants, is guys that you can just count on to show up every day, bring great energy, and just try to do their job as well as they can. And he allowed me to be a better coach, a better head coach, by taking a lot of things off my plate that I didn't want to deal with. And so he's inheriting, which I'm glad he is. And sometimes ADs are not smart enough to realize that the best guy for the job is the one that's sitting there right to the right of the coach. And he's been a head coach before. He knows the job, and I think he'll do an unbelievable job, and hopefully does a better job of even what I did as the head coach.
Well, Coach, I'm happy for you to get this job at Wyoming. I hope Georgia State or Mercer or Georgia Tech will play you. And so you come out here to the ATL and enjoy some good hot weather here, man, in the near future, Coach.
There's no question. There's been some good players that have come from down south that have made their way up to Laramie. And so if the opportunity presents itself, we'll definitely try to get down that way. And if we do, hopefully we'll see you at the game.
Well, Coach, I'm friends with most of these guys. I can talk to Josh, Ramir, and Greg, and Rob, and hopefully get something done for you in the mid area for you. Hopefully I can get something done for you, Coach.
Hey, I'm just going to outsource scheduling to you, JR. You can see what the real pain is in college basketball. That's scheduling.
Oh, I can only imagine. Hey, Coach, best of luck to you, man. Stay safe out there, Wyoming. Talk to you real soon, buddy.
Thanks, JR. I'll talk to you later.
Anytime. Just Jeff Limder on the Bossman Show.
How do you feel about your office? Is it just a space for your company, or is it a space to help you grow your company? From new HQs to satellite offices, with WeWork, you can find a space that works for you. Visit we.co/Space Matters to learn more.
All right, folks, back here on the Bossman Show here with Joe Scott of the Air Force Falcons out of the Mountain West Conference. Coach, how are things going with you and your family, man?
Doing good. Just trying to, stay safe, stay healthy, like everyone at this, at this time.
Now, Coach, getting a job in the middle of a pandemic is probably something you never imagined in your life. And I know trying to hire a staff and try to recruit players and, all the things go with getting a new job. But you've been in the Air Force before. But how weird is it if you're trying to handle all these responsibilities when you kind of quarantine to yourself, can't really go out there and touch people, talk to people, see your players? And how's that transition been for you so far, Coach?
Yeah, it's tough. It's definitely, obviously, it's definitely different. And it's tough. And the main thing that's tough with is the last one you said there. You can't touch your players. You can't coach your players. You come in to take over a program, and the thing that gets it moving in the right direction a lot, or really makes it have meaning, is being on the court with them, coaching them. They can see it, then they can feel it, they can touch it, they know what you're saying is real, and obviously we can't do that right now. So that's. That is, it hurts, in a grand scheme of things. But like you said, I've been here before. I've been at Air Force before. When I was there, we were very good. We won the Mountain West championship in the regular season, and we went to the tournament. So, I think in talking to our current players and me talking, they know me, they know the history, they know what I'm saying. There's truth to it. It's not like I'm some guy coming in and just saying things. That I was there. We did do it. We were successful. So there's there's that connection there, which I'm, hopeful that sort of helps this process a little bit during this time.
And Coach, what will concern me if it was out here with shoes was the conditioning piece of it, because the guys are probably back home, online classes, can't get into a gym to, either with bands or weights or what have you, machinery. So the strength coach will be very important right now for giving those guys workouts at home to do without dumbbells or weights and that kind of thing to keep them in shape, because you don't want to come back in August, September, and they're not in shape and you got to get ready to play in November.
Well, there's no question. And again, it's such a different time. I don't know how much, these guys really, and it's across the country, you really have to be a self-starter, and maybe this will be a little, it'll be good for a lot of people in, getting them to become self-starters, because you got to be like that anyhow. And now, like you said, you're at home at school. Are you a self-starter? It's online. Well, you still have school. Are you planning ahead? Are you prepared? Are you developing those good habits? So it's at work and school, and then what you said, it's you can figure out a way to stay in shape. And like you said, the strength coach giving them a body weight workout. Whatever it is, bands, whatever you do. It's still going to come down to, and I like this, I really feel strongly that we don't have enough of this anymore, that the coaches are always telling kids what to do, and I call it like the herd mentality. Everybody go over here and lift weights together. Everybody come out here and do this. Well, no, I don't want the herd mentality. I want the guy that I know is doing it on his own, because the guy who's doing it on his own, I can coach that guy. The guy who's doing it because you're telling him to do it and everybody's doing it, well, I don't know. So I'm hopeful that, for us, in our team, that right off the bat, we're developing a little bit of that. I got to be ready to beat guys out. I hope I'm the one doing these things, staying in shape, and guy got to beat out. Well, he's not. You know what I mean? That's the way it used to be. You know what I mean? I think that could be a positive thing that comes out of this for all the kids playing today. You know what I mean? Like, they have to do it on their own right now. If not the greatest of circumstances, there isn't a gym, you know what I mean? There aren't weights. It's not going to be a nice place to go to, right? You just got to sort of do it on your own and figure it out. And I think that would be great if kids really start zeroing in that way, and it's good for their own sort of self-development.
You got that right, coaches. Last year, I can say about 9 to 10 coaches told me last year that their players, if their players go up and get extra shots. You should have to beg a player to go get extra shots in or run extra sprints. You should have to beg them to want to get better. Like, that blows my mind. Just a bigger guy that want that want to get extra shots up. Like, you should want to be able to make more shots. You say you want to be a 3-point shooter. Well, take more of them on your own to get better at the shot. Then you can take them in the game. If you got to make them in practice or in shooter rounds, why would I let you take them in the game? So, but it's crazy when you have bigger guys to work on their game. That just blows my mind, Coach.
Well, I mean, I think, again, I call it the opposite theory is, if you want to get guys to work on their game, then you got to stop telling them what to do all the time. You got to stop telling them where to be all the time, right? You got to in the way that you go about your business, you got to say, you got to do exactly what you just said, and the ones that do it are the ones who get rewarded. And the ones who don't, they don't get rewarded. They get passed by, and then that's the greatest teacher, you know what I mean? And again, when you're, and we've gotten to that point a little bit, like we're always telling them what to do. We're always saying to go do this, go do that, go over here, come lift. All right, I got an idea, but hey, listen, you guys got to go work on your own. And then you sit back as a coach and they tell you. That's my philosophy. The players are going to tell me who the players are. I'm not telling the players who the players are. The players are going to tell me by what they do, how they do it, how much they care. And I think when you do it that way, you find out, man, that guy, he loves to play. Look at him. There he is again. I call them light bulbs. I got it from Coach Carrillo's in the Hall of Fame. They're a light bulb. I want light bulbs. Light bulbs are the kinds of guys who, when the coach walks in the gym and he sees that guy over there, the player turns the coach on. Guy's a light bulb. He turns the coach on. Look at that. I can't wait to coach that guy. Look how hard he works. Look at what he does on his own. You know what I mean? Instead of having players who are waiting for the coach to turn them on. And you know what? The guys who are light bulbs, they're the ones who ultimately get to be the best they can be.
You got there right, Coach. And I think since your time in the Mountain West, Coach, how in your mind has the league improved over the years since you was back last in the Mountain West? Because I feel like it's exponentially gotten better. It's a top 8 conference in the country. I just talked to Jeff Linder at Wyoming, who's just took the job there, and he was at Boise State for a long time as well. So let's talk about just how the league as a whole has gotten better over the years since you've been in the league, now coming back into it.
Well, I mean, when I was in the league, actually, it was an 8-team league, and it was an unbelievable league. Utah was in the Mountain West. They're now in the Pac-12, you know what I mean? So BYU, 22,000 people in their place. They were in the Mountain West, So the Mountain West back then was like really, really good. And now I think what's happened, which is a positive for the Mountain West, is, when they went to 11 teams and Utah left and BYU left, they reorganized a little bit, and it took a little while, a couple of years to figure some things out. But now, like you said, over the last 2-3 years, the league's getting back to where, like you said, you got San Diego State, you got Utah State. They've been very good. Nevada, Boise State. I mean, there are teams that are, the league's a very good league. So I think programs are getting better. Teams are rising to that level. And I know that's a focus of the league as a whole, is really rise. All the programs rise to keep this sort of upward trajectory the league's on right now.
Now, Coach, being in the Air Force, how's recruiting different from some schools such as like maybe Georgia, where you was at, public school, Kennesaw State, or Georgia Southern? How's the recruiting different from like getting a young man to want to join the Air Force Academy and has to do those military requirements that is required when you go to schools such as Air Force, Navy, or Army, and kind of deal with that piece of the puzzle there?
Well, I mean, what you do is, it's you just got to find the right guys. First, it's always about, the basketball piece in terms of the running, the dribbling, the passing, the shooting, the running, the jumping, those things. You make those determinations, and then ultimately, it comes down to, finding the kid who has that, who understands education is unbelievably important, because the education at the academy is, it's Ivy League level. So, you're going to get that type of kid who values that kind of education, who wants to be as good as he can be, and then knows really that the 4 years in college isn't really about the 4 years. We know it's about the 4 years and how good can you get in that experience, but it's really about the next 50 years. You're going to live another 50, and some 60, how good do you want those years to be? You know what I mean? When you graduate from the academy, you play basketball, you have that degree. You know what? You got a job when you come out, right? When you're 30 and what do you want to do? You're going to be able to do what you want to do because you have that degree, and you got to be forward thinking. You got to be a kid who's can look ahead that way and know that your college decision isn't about just those 4 years. It's about the rest of your life. And what we try to do is find those kids, and they're out there, and coach them the way we do, and you develop them the way we're going to do it. You got a chance to be good.
And, I think, Coach, is the main thing. I feel like 18 and 22-year-old young men, this is their formative years to becoming a man or setting their themselves up for the rest of their lives. So how do you still go about people development for as them becoming young men, great husbands and fathers down the road and going forward and being great pillars of their community as they get older and more farther along in their lives?
Well, I think, again, that's the definition of the Air Force Academy. You know what I mean? What they do every day, what we do every day is all about developing those character traits that translate into exactly what you just said. That translate into you being responsible, that translate, into you being mature, responsible, knowing it's about other people, knowing it's about, the academy's about service before self. It's about other people. It's about being a leader. It's about giving. The more you give, the more you get. We all know that. It's a proverb. Everybody knows it's true. I know the trick is to do it. The trick is to live it. And that's what we do. We live it. And, so again, that's the, the ultimate value of the Air Force Academy is, that's what we're producing. That's what those 22 and 23-year-old, men and women who are graduating, that's what they are. And, that's why I went back to be the coach. It's a special place and, with special people. And obviously you always know that the people make the place. So I'm really excited to be back there for the reasons, that you bring up.
And, Coach, non-conference scheduling-wise in the Mountain West, a little different than it is in the Sun Belt or the SEC or just conferences right around here in Georgia. So how you go about scheduling those games for your team? Would you kind of try to play a non-exempt tournament here or there, or do some two-for-ones, get guys to come play you at your place, or go on the road, or take your guys to see different teams with a high-level competition? So how you plan on going non-conference-wise? This is probably the second hardest thing you do as a recruit, just kind of schedule these games for your team non-conference.
Yeah, no doubt. Scheduling is really, really important when you're in a league like the Mountain West. Scheduling non-conference is very important because, if you're a good team and you're good in that league and you schedule right non-conference, you're putting yourself where you want to be in March, and you're putting yourself in that conversation. So, like you said, going into the right exempt events, you got to have the right scheduling philosophy for who you are and where you are. And, I think, again, one of the advantages of Air Force is one, can we get some teams that come out and play us? Like you said, that would be good non-conference games. You go to the exempt event tournaments and make sure it's the right ones. And then can you cherry pick and are you successful in getting, like a good home and home? You go on the road and you go to a good, just back there, you go play at Georgia Tech. Air Force plays Georgia Tech. Can that be a home and home? And then, like you're saying, you're going to a good place with a good game. They come back to you the next year, and those are all the things that go into it because, like you said, it's recruiting, it's scheduling, and then you get to, the coaching part. But scheduling is extremely important.
That's one I got for you, Coach. How's your time here in Georgia as assistant up in Athens with Coach Crane up there, man? They got a great player, Anthony Edwards, who may be a future Atlanta Hawk. We never know about that because my main job is covering the Hawks. That's my main job is covering the Hawks. So I'm very keen with those guys. But how's your time here? How's you enjoy the state of Georgia? Been around, meeting the coaches around the state here, high school coaches, but with these guys out here, and enjoying just being this nice Georgia state, the Peach State here.
Yeah, I mean, I said, that my time there, I'm unbelievably fortunate. We're fortunate. We're extremely grateful to be getting this, opportunity again at Air Force. And like I've said, it would not have been possible without the last 2 years. It wouldn't have been possible without being at Georgia, being at an institution like Georgia. It's a prestigious institution across the board. To be with, again, the right people there has made a world of difference and was a big part of me being able to get this opportunity. So, like you mentioned, there's the players there. I think the program's in a good spot, and I really think, Anthony's going. I hope things turn out well for him, like you said. Overall, it was an unbelievable experience, and I think you're going to see the program take a jump, and I'm going to be really looking forward to continuing to follow, Georgia and follow the guys on the team and see their progress. And like you said, also, just so get it, spread it out there. I mean, we're going to recruit Georgia. I know for a fact, the Air Force, a lot of football players and a lot of through time at Air Force, a lot of guys, they've had success in Georgia. And, with my time there the last 2 years and the contacts that I've made, I mean, I want to make sure that we're getting into Georgia and, finding a couple players, to help us, because we all know it's a great basketball state, a lot of good players. And like I just said, a lot of good people in Georgia. So I'm going to make sure to maintain that connection.
And we'll do our part here to help you out, Coach. Our show reaches from Chattanooga down to Macon with our reach with our station here. So we'll definitely try to help you in that regard, too, getting you on the show and letting, hear you on the show talk about the Air Force Academy, because that's a great school. And my dad was a military man, fought in Vietnam War.
Go.
So I was in the military a lot. And the VA helped me with school. I was 27 years old. So I respect the military and what it's all about.
Go.
So I can speak to it as well as a military
let's stay
kid.
Connected.
Yes,
yeah, let's stay connected and let's make sure we do it.
Yes, indeed, Coach.
It would be great.
Anytime, Coach. Thank you for your time today, Coach. Stay safe out there. Talk to you real soon, buddy.
All right. Appreciate you having me on.
Anytime.
Stay safe.
Yes, sir. That's Joe Scott here on the Bossman Show.